You are about to hear something that almost no one in mainstream media is willing to say out loud.
Comes out in a very provocative gown with high heels, and all of a sudden that little girl knocks you right off your ass.
That aired on national television with a live studio audience, and not a single person flinched.
Britney Spears was arrested Wednesday night, according to information from Ventura County, California authorities.
March 2026. One of the most famous women in the history of American pop culture gets pulled over on a Ventura County highway. The helicopters go up. The ex-boyfriends rush to CNN. The internet turns it into a joke. But here's what nobody is connecting out loud right now. This is not a story about a pop star who lost her way. This is a story about a system, a machine, that was engineered from the very beginning to take a little girl, transform her into a product, and make absolutely certain she never fully belonged to herself again. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will understand why even the people who know the full truth are terrified to say it. Let's go back to the actual beginning. Not the albums, not the magazine covers, not the music videos. The real beginning. A 10-year-old girl from Kentwood, Louisiana, standing under hot lights while grown men in expensive suits decided whether she had it, whether her body, her energy, her presence was worth investing in.
Britney was transformed, pouring on a sexy southern charm the judges had never seen in a package so small.
She wanted to sing. She wanted to win. She wanted the applause because every adult in her life had already taught her that performing was how you earned love. That need, completely natural, completely innocent, is precisely what the machine exploited. Because here is how the system works at its front door. Parents bring their children in, believing in their kids' talent. Adults in power then decide not just whether you can sing, but whether you are worth owning, what you look like, how you move, whether you have it, and what it means to the men sitting behind the cameras describing the energy coming off a child's body. That is the selection process. That is where it starts. And once you are selected, you do not belong to yourself anymore. You belong to the industry.
Most adorable, pretty eyes. You have a boyfriend?
No, sir.
How about me?
That is what the world decided a 10-year-old girl was for, and that normalization, that cultural operating system, followed her every single step of the way. Fast forward to 2007. Britney Spears is one of the most recognizable human beings on the planet. She is also visibly fracturing. The shaved head, the umbrella, the hospitalizations. The world had its phones out and called it a meltdown. But let's slow down and ask the question nobody was asking in real time. What does it actually feel like to be her at that moment? You have been performing since you were a child. You have never, not once, simply been a person. You went from your parents controlling your schedule, to managers controlling your image, to an entire industry controlling your output. You have been told what to wear, how to move, what to say, and how to look every day of your adult life. You were sexualized at the age of 10 and expected to handle that gracefully with a smile forever. At 26, the cracks were showing, not because she was broken, because that is what happens when a human being is treated like a commodity long enough. And what did the system do when the asset started to crack? It did not offer compassion. It built a cage with a legal framework around it. For those who need the fast breakdown, a conservatorship means another person legally controls your entire existence. Your money, your medical decisions, your career, your relationships, your daily schedule, everything. In her memoir, The Woman in Me, Britney described what that looked like from the inside. She was locked in rooms. She could not drive. She could not draw a bath in private. She was placed on lithium, a powerful psychiatric drug, now without her full and informed consent. The same drug, she noted, that drove her grandmother to suicide. 13 years of having every decision about her body, her children, her money, and her mind made by someone else. She went from a child who was never allowed to be a child, directly into an adult who was never allowed to be an adult. Not a single day of actual autonomy. Not one. Now, two names kept surfacing when people started digging into how that conservatorship was actually constructed. The first is Lou Taylor, a Hollywood management executive running a firm called TriStar. Taylor allegedly played a central architectural role in building the conservatorship around Britney. And her client list? Pay close attention. The same firm, the same woman. Britney's conservatorship, Diddy's management, the entire Kardashian financial empire, and then the Epstein files opened. Fact checkers went in immediately. IB Times UK. Factually.co, legal experts. They reviewed the publicly available material and found no verified criminal connection, placing Britney as a participant. That matters. This channel does not hand you speculation and dress it as fact. But here is what was not debunked. Here is what is sitting inside those documents. Documented, real, and almost completely buried by mainstream coverage.
I'll pause it to read this entire email. I just want to focus on the Britney Spears part together. So starting up here with the salary would free me up.
While those emails were being written, Britney Spears was being held at the UCLA Resnick Psychiatric Hospital, the same university system where Tramo worked. Multiple sources confirmed she was kept there against her will. Let that land. A man with documented ties to Jeffrey Epstein was emailing about a project tied to Britney's name and her children, while she sat locked in a room at his university, unable to leave. Nobody has been able to fully explain what that means in the context of a woman who had already given birth to both her children. Nobody. And then there is TMZ.
And I'll just let you read that PS yourself about what will make babies suck on a pacifier more vigorously. Highly disturbing to me.
Fast forward to March 2026. Who is driving the media charge on Britney's DUI story? TMZ. Who is securing interviews with her family members and ex-partners? TMZ. Who is pushing the loudest narrative that she is spiraling, unreliable, incapable of managing her own life? TMZ, the same media company whose CEO is documented in the Epstein files as a close personal associate, is currently the loudest voice in the room, telling the world that Britney Spears cannot be trusted. Connect those dots yourself. Now, I want to stop here, because this is the piece that most coverage either skips entirely or buries in a footnote. And it may be the most important part of this entire story. What does 13 years of heavy lithium use actually do to a person? Britney described being placed on lithium without her full and informed consent. Heavy doses, consistent, for over a decade, administered by the same conservatorship that was allegedly architected by a woman whose management network connected directly to Diddy and the financial apparatus surrounding the Kardashian empire. They controlled what she put into her own body for 13 years. They would have had her exactly where they needed her. March 5th, 2026. California Highway Patrol spots a 2026 BMW convertible weaving through Ventura County. They pull it over. Field sobriety tests failed. Drug recognition expert called in. Blood drawn. Car impounded. The media response was immediate. Helicopters. CNN interviews with exes. Cable news doctors who have never been in the same room as her going on air to speculate about a bipolar diagnosis that has never been publicly confirmed. Here is what got buried in all of that. And now the legal question nobody wants to ask on camera. A legal expert noted in March 2026 that a single DUI alone will not reinstate a conservatorship. But if the pattern continues, more incidents, more hospitalizations, more erratic public behavior, her family could absolutely petition the court for a new one. The original conservatorship in 2008 was triggered by just 2 psychiatric holds. 2 within weeks of each other. That pattern is starting to look familiar.
Booking information obtained by CNN shows that the pop star was stopped by the California Highway Patrol around 9:30 p.m.
5 months after that memoir published, the DUI happened. Being right does not care about your reputation, but here's the line that the headlines glossed over entirely. She refused to go for weeks. A source close to her told News Nation in March 2026, she has very big trust issues. She will not sign anything anymore because of the last conservatorship. Of course she won't. That is not instability. That is not erratic behavior. That is a woman whose entire life has taught her that signing things is how you lose yourself. Here is what ties all of this together, and I need you to sit with this, because this is the part most coverage refuses to say directly. Britney Spears was not a random name to end up in those files.
I'm really worried. I'm absolutely, as a father, terrified that one day I might wake up and my sons are going to have to deal with the unimaginable.
They said it on television. They predicted the fracture in her identity. They knew what they were doing would splinter her. They said it out loud and kept filming anyway, because the profit was worth more than the person. The conservatorship, 13 years of legal captivity, managed by a woman whose firm connected directly to Diddy and the Kardashian financial network. That is the machine tightening its grip when the asset becomes inconvenient. The Epstein emails referencing her name, her children, a neonatal project, while she sat locked in a hospital room at his university, unable to leave. That is the machine operating further down the chain.
This morning, Britney Spears is in rehab. A rep for the star confirming to ABC News she has voluntarily checked herself into a treatment facility.
And still running TMZ helicopters over her house the week of the DUI, led by a CEO documented as Epstein's close associate, telling the world she cannot be trusted. That is the machine managing the narrative. She was never outside of it. From the talent search stage to the UCLA psychiatric ward, the thread never broke. The machine never released her.
So as she grows up, you're going to see this split between Britney, sexual Britney, and then there's Britney.
She is not a cautionary tale. She is not a punchline. She is what happens when the machine works exactly as designed. And the girl inside it is never once given a single safe exit. Every single time she trusted the system took something from her. Her body was commodified at 10. Her freedom was stripped at 26. Her children, her money, her medical decisions handed over to someone else. And through all of it, her name ended up in the private correspondence of the most notorious predator in modern American history. What would that do to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think the people surrounding her today actually want her well? Or is the machine still running? And if you want us to go all the way in on the Loud Taylor and Kardashian money trail as its own full episode, type money trail below. We will build that out completely. Stay locked in. See you in the next one.